of places to overtake. But what is the key for someone like Scott Lagasse or even Tony Buffon-Monte if they're going to get on level terms with Rafa, who got the pole?
Well, first of all, it's got to be the keyhole. Okay, so getting off of that really increases your chances to outbrake someone going in the next corner. And off of the last corner, you don't have a lot of room or distance to make a pass on the front stretch, but it's doable if you get a really good run off that last corner. We saw during the TA race through the S's, it's kind of lead follow, unless you're a lean, I believe, who was passing on the outside.
No, it was Warren Dexter, actually, the TA4 class, yeah, in the Ginetta, finding it easy to go around the outside. There is the famous number 9. And it's great to have Bill Elliott. I had a brief conversation with him. He, of course, now a Hall of Famer in his 60s. And believe it or not, he's here racing Trans Am this weekend. But he's going to be at Road America doing the Xfinity Championship. Back again. He can't give up. Old racers don't go home. They come and race Trans Am.
It never goes away.
Brilliant. It's so good. And he's really enjoying his experience. And I hope we can talk him into another run at it, because it's great to have a legend like Bill Elliott, who taking it just as seriously as anybody, you know, mixing it up with the likes of Rafa Matos. Scott Lagasse is somebody I'm watching very closely today. He was in the Xfinity race this time last year. He knows the course well. He's been driving really well. He was another man in contention in Indy before it all went horribly wrong. You've got to think that if Rafa has got a thorn in his side today, it could well be Scott.
Yeah, and I think Scott, if I'm Scott, I might have felt a little robbed off of that. But yeah, I think Rafa, as long as he gets a good start off here, he'll be good.
Now, as you see, they are lining up. This is not the start of the race, even though we're going across the line in formation. They'll go through turn 1 because it's such a short run to turn 1. But what we do is we get the cars stacked up, lined up, 2 by 2, and there you see on the left-hand side, Matos, Lagasse alongside him. They're keeping the tyres warm. They're not supposed to actually weave too much at this point. They're supposed to be getting into formation, which is exactly what Rafa's doing. Tony Buffon-Monte lines up behind Rafa Matos in the all-blue car. There is Francis Jr. He's already had a victory today in TA. Now, as we get out of the keyhole and out of the second corner, we go down the straight, and this is where we'll start the race, and hopefully we'll get a green flag. It looks pretty clean to me. Rafa Matos then will lead him. There's the green flag. Away we go for TA2, round 7 here at Mid-Ohio. Brilliant conditions, brilliant start by Lagasse, but Rafa Matos holds him into turn 4. Buffon-Monte on the inside. Up to 3rd place goes the second man in the championship, Tony Buffon-Monte, but it's Rafa Matos who leads them all through as they weave through the S's here at Mid-Ohio, and up the hill they go. A little bit of dust and dirt there, but Rafa, good start, and he had a little challenge there from Scott. But Buffon-Monte in 3rd place, good clean start. Now, right at the back of the circuit, up towards 6, 7, and 8, then down to Thunder Valley, as it's known, before the final carousel, which is this complex here, and onto the main straight. And one of the cleanest starts we've had all season long. And Rafa Matos under massive pressure now from Scott Lagasse. This is really good stuff from Scott. I spoke to him earlier this morning, and he said he's feeling confident. And what he said was, he feels that the Camaros have got to get ahead of the Mustangs, or pull away from the Mustangs, because in a straight line they're just not as quick. So what the idea was is get the Camaros out in front and away, and it looks as though they're playing that game exactly, because he's almost working in tandem with Matos at the moment to try and pull away from Buffon-Monte. But look at the power of the Mustang down the straight. Jake, he's right. That Mustang's right there with him.
Yeah, I was just watching Lagasse there. He can't quite get off the keyhole as good as Rafa is, and as long as Rafa can keep him from doing that, and maybe it looks like he's, I wouldn't say blocking, I would say driving a little defensively. Yeah. He should be good, but Lagasse's right on that back bumper.
Also, great start for Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson, of course, who runs the team and runs Rafa Matos. There he is, in the same colors as Rafa. He's running a Mustang this weekend for the first time, and his best qualifying of 7th, a really good start. He surprised himself, he said yesterday, but he's pedaling well and going good at the start of this one. We are away and running. It's a 100-mile race for our first energy TA2 race here at Mid-Ohio. So an hour in all. So a long way to go yet. And again, we're going to have a war of attrition, Jake. You've got to make sure that you've got to... Ooh, that's somebody smoking heavily at the back, in the middle of that group there. Here comes Lagasse into the keyhole. He's not going to get past on the outside, surely. And he doesn't. Now, this is what you were talking about. This is where Rafa gets good drive. He gets on the power early and then pulls away. Bufamonte still third. Yeah, I feel it's like a war of attrition with these guys, and you've got to have tires for the if you like, the last quarter of the race.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like they're thinking about that.
Well, no, yeah,
they're going pretty hard here.
That's the thinking man's game, but whether you actually put it into action is another question. It's a really close start, and Peterson getting out of shape there, but going good. Doug Peterson.
It looks like Rafa's settling into his groove here. He's pulled away from Lagasse a little bit. I know Bufamonte would rather not that happen, but I think he's going to get in his groove, and if this thing stays green for a while, I would bet that Rafa continues to put some distance between him and Lagasse.
Really impressed with Doug Peterson. I keep saying it, but he's ahead of Chase Briscoe. Chase Briscoe, one of the guest drivers, if you will, from the Xfinity Series. He'll be out in action for the Xfinity NASCAR Series later in the day. So just getting a little warm-up here. There he is in the all-orange car behind Doug Peterson in 7th place at the moment. Somebody going very wide there, gathering it all together. And that was the number 28. And that was a bit too Larry for my liking, but anyway, he made it, and that was Christopher Bell, another one of the Xfinity boys. So not the best way round. We found that in the previous race. Grass cutting is fine here at Mid-Ohio. This is farm country, but it can lead to getting too much in the grill.
Yeah, and once you cover these grills, especially the Camaros and how low they are, once you cover them with grass, you get no air to the motor, and the motor starts heating up. And the last thing we want to see is you lead in the race and have to come in and get your grill cleaned off, right?
Yep, and it happened in the previous race. We had the 3 leaders having to come in, not at the same time, but when they chose to, they just were thinking about the safety and probably about the season ahead, because you don't want to blow a motor. Great crowd here at Mid-Ohio. They love their racing here, and this, one of the most iconic tracks in the United States. And it's so good to have Trans Am here with NASCAR, and I think everybody was kind of poking their heads at each other's garage earlier in the day, and I was asking our tech guys, the difference between our cars and their cars. Obviously, we've got the aero package, so we've got a little bit more downforce. There isn't the power in these cars that the NASCAR guys have got, but very similar to look at from the outside if you haven't got a trained eye. And I think that's why, would you agree as a driver, that's why some of these Xfinity guys are trying Trans Am out?
Yeah, and again, seat time too. What better way to get more laps on the track than to come over here and run one of these Trans Am cars? They're very, like you said, they're very similar, but very different at the same time.
Oh, and there's a spin, and that's Quinn. And sadly, the man who's an instructor here at Mid-Ohio has just taken the wrong instruction for himself, and he's gone off track. And sadly, Aaron Quinn from Medina, Ohio, has taken his Camaro grass tracking for a moment. Here's what happened. Yep, comes into, oh, he was way out of, he wasn't going to make that corner, was he? He ran out of talent mid-corner there.
Yeah, I don't think so.
He's got his Spill Fix sponsors here this weekend. Big following. He's got about 60 guests here, all wearing bright orange shirts. It's you can't miss them. So they'll have got a bit of a thrill watching in the grandstands there. But Quinn is back out on track and enjoying his time here at Ohio. He does probably more laps than anybody. I was asking him about the track earlier in the weekend to get an idea of just where he changes gear and what's good and tough about it. There's the grill starting to fill up. Oh, that's more than a grill problem. That is a wheel problem. 3 wheels on his wagon, and out goes the 25 of Misha Goikenberg, who had been one of the quickest men out there. The man from Ontario, Canada. But Rafa Matos continues to lead. The gap just less than a second. It's 0.742 to be exact. And in terms of lap times, the leaders almost on identical times. Bufamonte still third. Bit of a gap to this chasing pack, but Goikenberg's got to get out of the way. He's going to try to make it back to the pits by the looks of things, but that's going to be a long run. at that speed. Keeping an eye on Francis Jr. There he is in the number 44. Francis Jr. already a winner today, but this is a completely different car. This is his second TA2 run. He had a run at Detroit at Belle Isle, if you remember, his first ever TA2. Oh, carnage! What's going off? Everybody's going into the fields here in Mid-Ohio. And that's car number 63. That's Bob Lima from Philadelphia. Parked it in the kitty litter. And another car involved in that incident. Now, let me get your guesstimate on that. Will that bring out safety, you think?
Probably. If you can't get out of the gravel pit, sometimes if the car is not, in danger of getting hit by another car, they might not throw the caution, but it all depends on where it is on the track.
So they come across the start-finish line. The 25 car in the pits just behind in the distance there. They're going to try to see if they can get another tyre on it. And we wait to see whether safety comes out. We'll look down the pit lane, but Rafa right now building on that lead. His last lap at 1:27.105, just a couple of tenths quicker, and that's why he's pulled a bit of a gap to Scott Lagasse there as they go through the keyhole again. There's the parked car. It's not a good place for it to be.
No, and that's really iffy, because if you overcook, getting into the keyhole, you could run into him, but it's a very slow part of the track. So if you do go off, you might not hit him. So I wouldn't want to make that call.
Well, we saw Lawrence Loshak make a mistake while chasing through back markers in the last race, and that's exactly where he ended up. Luckily, he spun around and got back and going again. If they can extricate him as quickly as they can, especially in this lap, we might be able to keep things going. I'm really... Oh, somebody's hit the dust for a second, but no problems. But I'm really impressed with Doug Peterson. He is flying at the moment and still holding on to what is a 5th position at the moment.
Yeah, I think since the field went by, like you saw the safety truck come up, they'll probably just yank him out of the way and see if he can go or keep going.
So we're getting to the first quarter of this race. It's a 100-mile dash, just over an hour, and Rafa Matos taking the pole yesterday in a time of 1:27.748, but the top 6 was hardly anything between them. All the way back to Christopher Bell in 6th place. Dust flying up just behind, and now they've dragged him away. Yep, he's out of harm's way, so the race continues, and that's good news.
Especially for Rafa.
Exactly. So Lagasse 2nd place. Bufamonte. Now, keeping a watchful eye on Tony Bufamonte. He was not the happiest of men. We spoke to him earlier in the weekend. He had a few altercations, shall we say, of his own at Indianapolis. But who didn't? Everybody seemed to get into some sort of incident or other. And that led to Jordan Butt winning the race. But the likes of Bufamonte chasing for the championship, 3rd at the moment in this one, we're all a little bit miffed, shall we say. And Bufamonte and Jones in their own battle now for 3rd place.
I think Butt might have been the only one to come out of Indy happy.
Well, he was surprised as anybody that he actually won the race. He got to the checkered flag and was like, where? I go to the winner's circle? Okay.
Yeah, we've been talking to Rafa all weekend. He is determined to win this championship. I mean, he is probably the most focused guy in the garage in the TA2 class.
So it's Rafa Matos, Lagasse. Francis Jr. still in the top 10. He's 9th at the moment. Honeywell, one of the rookies out there. Prochuk is in 15th position. Goikeberg dropping right off, having gone into the pits. By the way, Matt Tift, who was due to race in this race, unfortunately blew an engine, or had an engine problem. He's still racing in Xfinity, of course, but this is his home race, and he was hoping, having done this race as well last year, to get some seat time, but it has come to naught. One of the Mike Cope racing cars. Mike Cope doing a really good job of offering up the opportunity, as in comes the 43. That's Robert Sabato of Ontario. And I think look like physical damage to the car, but he's got some sort of mechanical problem.
I think he was the one that got in with Bob Lima.
Okay.
That was probably I think
yes.
He was.
Yeah.
If you noticed, I did see, I think it was Chase Briscoe, one of the orange cars. It's pretty clever. they have
chains on the front
to clean away the grass. So
very smart move. Yeah, that is. Why doesn't everybody do that? I wonder. A little bit extra weight that you don't want. Or what's the story?
I'm not sure. I would opt for them.
Yep, I'm with you on that one. There's Francis Jr. then. Ernie Francis Jr. Do you see him becoming a TA2 regular next year?
Maybe. It depends on his K&N schedule and what else he's going to be doing. So I'm sure he would love to come and do a full season in TA2, but I don't think he'll ever not do some Trans Am racing.
Yeah, he's becoming a bit of a walking legend. He's only a kid, what, 23, I think? And he's already won so much. 4 championships in Trans Am and a record that is unparalleled. Lima's car in the pit stand. They're just checking underneath it to make sure there's nothing untoward. So Rafa Matos, last lap at 127.1. He's been consistent. I'll say that for him.
Pretty good little battle between Christopher Bell and Brandon Jones. Those are 2 of the Nationwide guys.
Still a long way to go in this one yet, and it's really tight. I mean, we talked about the overtaking and the lack of opportunity to do so, and even though the field is starting to spread out, it's not... Oh! Just as we say that, another incident. This time one of the Mustangs, the 00 of Chase Briscoe. That is one of the Xfinity boys. So, the Glory boys are having not all the glory at the moment. It's great to have them on board, and I have to say, it just shows the quality field of Trans Am at the moment, that the stars of the future of the NASCAR Cup Series, and that's who these guys are, these Xfinity guys. They're young, up-and-coming hopefuls, getting seat time, doing Xfinity, and, of course, trying out Trans Am. And, yeah, some of them not making it through the way, not by the wayside, so it's great to see. So Matos, 126.7, he's up the pace for sure. Lagasse losing some time. Buffamonte on the same pace. Francis Jr. still in the top 10. Sheehan going well. And number 97 now parked up. That's Thomas Sheehan. Now, Thomas, we just mentioned him, was in the top 10 earlier. He's the man with a broken hip.
Seems like everybody's having a little trouble getting into the keyhole.
Yep. Well, he spun it round. Nice work, Tom. Just slips by and gets back on track behind the Hall of Famer. Cracking start to this one. Frenetic start in many ways. As we look at the battle between the 24 and the 25. And it's Brandon Jones. And Brandon Jones, another one of those men who is doing double duty. Behind him is Bell. They'll be racing each other this afternoon. There's Matos. And this is the closest battle at the moment.
Yeah, I was going to say, look at Bell's line going into the keyhole over Jones. He gets a really good run off of it, but he hasn't been close enough. He might be this time.
Where are the obvious places? I'm thinking this is turn 3. I'm thinking turn 4 coming into the right-hander.
Right here under braking. Just like Bell. I gave it a look, but right there is where I would make that pass. But like I said, you got to get off the keyhole really, really well in order to get that momentum.
25 is Goikerberg, who's got back out there. So he's got a new rear, and you can see the bodywork flapping away there where damage was done, but luckily no suspension damage. Or I say that as he brakes rather squirrely, but he's out there. They put another wheel on it, and he's trying to make up some time. So this race settling down. Rafa Matos in control at the moment anyway. He's managed to put a gap of 1.9, just under 2 seconds to the man chasing him, Scott Lagasse Jr. of Florida. Usually races in the truck series, does Lagasse, but really likes to race Mid-Ohio and was in the Xfinity race this time last year. So if anybody's familiar with how to race this circuit, and this is a good battle between these two. A bit of pride involved here. And look at Doug Peterson hanging off the back of them. Good stuff.
Good move by Christopher Bell. That was a nice pass.
I keep mentioning Doug because he's up in age compared to the two men in front of him. And he's got a brand new Mustang for this weekend. And he is driving the wheels off it. I asked him what he liked about the car. And he said that basically it was the consistency of it. He felt that every lap he could push a little bit harder because the car was going where he wanted it and hitting its marks. And I think you know as a driver what he means by that.
Yeah, you get a car that you like and you're comfortable in it, you know, the further you can push it.
Right.
And it's that comfortability and that, I wouldn't say reliability, but you have more confidence to push it that much further.
Another good battle here, the 00 who's got back out. That's Chase Briscoe, who was in the gravel a minute ago. But Briscoe out again and trying to lay down some laps here at Mid-Ohio. If you've just joined us, we welcome you to the first Energy TA2 Trans Am Round 7 race for 2018 from Mid-Ohio. We've got a varied field of regulars, guest drivers, and Hall of Famers in the great Bill Elliott out there hooning round in the famous number 9. Great to have him on board. And Chase Briscoe from North Carolina. Interestingly enough, racing for Newman Wax Racing in that Ford Mustang. And if you know that name, you'll know that they're kind of single-seater guys. So this is a bit of a change for them, too, to come into Trans Am. I was talking to some of the mechanics. I know some of them from previous races, and they're really enjoying it, to be honest. They've got a good driver. This is a bit of a sort of a one-off for them, and yeah, really enjoying it. Misha Goikenberg trying to get on level terms and make up some time, but oh, that's not going to do it. And he is struggling for whatever reason. I don't think he's got a good wheel alignment, and now he's making everybody else pay for it, sadly. He just turned in there, and the car just didn't go with him.
I'm not sure if he didn't get damage from...
Yeah, here, watch this. Now watch the rear left of the blue car. As he brakes, literally just turns in. What do you reckon?
I don't know. I mean, he might have just went in a little too hard, but usually what you'd see is front tires smoke.
Yep.
Unless something's loose or they didn't get that right rear back on.
Matos starting to get into lap traffic. He gets past Swank. It was Ernie Francis Jr. that the number 25, Goikenberg, came together with, and luckily Francis Jr. took to the grass and managed, I think, to hold it all together. So Matos rolls on. The gap, 2.7 seconds. So Matos really taking it to them now, and just got to be careful he doesn't push too hard before the halfway stage and allow Bufamonte to catch up in the closing stages, because that's certainly probably the plan. Lagacy still there in second place. Bufamonte, then it's Bell, Jones, Doug Peterson still 6th. He's moved up from his qualifying position of 7th. Jordan Butt is in 7th. Then Ethan Wilson, another one of the rookies. Anthony Honeywell in 9th position. All part of the Stevenson Miller troop. Mark Miller on the sidelines, helping them on and doing a bit of driver coaching. He's been driving himself for the Black Swan team of late over in Europe, and now helping these guys learn their way around Trans Am. Saw one headline about Bill Elliott saying, Bill Elliott must be getting a second wind. He's had such a storied career in NASCAR, of course. And he's still going strong at 62. Good boy. You should get your dad back out here.
I think he wants to.
Oh!
Ernie goes around there.
Well, that's a rare mistake in the last carousel corner. And, well, that was a bit of a pony ride for Ernie Francis Jr. spinning it round. I wonder if there was some damage. Let's have a look as he comes through into the carousel. No, he just touched it. Yeah, I think he was just he was just unbalanced, wasn't he? And he put the power down, and his tires were facing the wrong way.
It's not like him to
No,
be
true.
having trouble like this. So,
to be honest, I asked him this morning, and he said, you know, honestly, I might have bitten off more than I could chew, Yeah, he didn't put it in so many words, but he sort of said, look, jumping between the two cars, there's a lot going on. I didn't qualify as well as I wanted to. It's going to be hard. And so I think he knew going into this that this was going to be a tough weekend. Meanwhile, the Brazilian, the boy from Brazil, is flying. It's been an immaculate season so far for Rafa Matos. Former Rookie of the Year in Indy, of course. He's probably raced Mid-Ohio a fair few times, too.
He's definitely in the zone, definitely wants us, especially after last race. So
yeah, and of course he was penalized last time out for 2 infractions. He jumped the restart, and that was bad enough, but then there was an infraction also technically. In comes Wilson, and car number 49, Ethan Wilson, one of the rookies. Ethan Wilson, of course, in the Berriman Prefix Dodge Challenger. Checking it over to see if there's anything particularly wrong with the car. Doesn't look like it. Oh, they're going dropping like flies at the moment. Here we go. Out goes the 5. Everybody's
close.
spinning. These conditions, for whatever reason, catching a few people out that we didn't expect. And that's Stephen Lustig. But he's going again. And it's not just one part of the track. It seems like any corner on any given Saturday. Here's what happened to Lustig. Well, riddle me that one. Come on, driver coach. What happened there?
I don't know. It looks like he overcooked it. Maybe got a little wheel hop in it.
Yeah.
But that was a little too close. I mean,
that's the second time Francis Jr. has almost been involved in a head-on collision or a collision.
Not looking in your mirror type of thing.
Now, Christopher Bell all over the back of Tony Buffamonte in the 28.
And Buffamonte does not want that. Lagacy's already, like you said, a thorn in their side, getting in the mix, and he needs points today.
Yeah, and the thing is, I asked, I mean, these guys may be from the Xfinity Series just doing, for them, a guest drive. They don't really care about the points, but they do score Trans Am points for wherever they finish. So like you say, Buffamonte 11 points behind Rafa Matos. The last thing he needs is for any of the non-regulars to get in his way, and that's exactly what Bella's doing right now.
And that really plays to Rafa. If I'm Rafa, I'm looking in the mirror, I'm like, this is great. You know, it's really putting the pressure on Tony. He's burning off his tires a little bit quicker. Rafa can settle back a little bit.
So we are 18 laps into this 45-lap race. No major incidents. We've had a few spins and a few offs into the gravel, but we've remained off most of the caution so far. But there's the gap. First place coming through turn 1. Here comes second place Lagacy. Third place Buffamonte under massive pressure now from Bell.
I bet you he's having a lot of fun.
Yep, reliving the days. And you know, it's funny, he's a man of few words, old Bill Elliott. Boris said was ribbing him a little bit, and of course they've got probably a good history of racing together over the years. And great to have Boris involved in Trans Am as well. He was in the previous race. But Bill just really enjoying it, and a little bit of fun, and he'll be a bit more serious at Xfinity next weekend. But at this stage, when you're already in a Hall of Famer, it doesn't matter, you're just out for a Saturday afternoon drive, aren't you?
I'm sure he's not calling it that.
No. So the gap between first and second now, 3.2 seconds. So Matos is doing a good job of controlling this race. Explain what I mean by that, because it's hard to explain that because you're just going as fast as you can, but there is an essence where you choose when to push and when you don't, and that's what I mean by controlling it, is that he's taken the lead to 3 seconds, and in any race, you know, anywhere over 1.5 seconds is starting to control the race, isn't it?
Sort of. I think he he wants to get as much distance between him and Legacy, but at the same time, I'm sure
risk versus reward.
Right.
There, yeah?
If I was him, I would be talking to my crew, finding out exactly how far back he is, and then maybe even the next lap back off a little bit and see how far he caught up. So it does put him in a little bit more control, but I think he's definitely going to be on the radio, making sure that he keeps a really good gap between him and Scott Legacy.
Still plenty of time, 20 of the 45 laps completed. And I think that's a mistake that a few people make. We've had a few guys from PwC here this weekend, and their race is a little shorter, and that last 15 minutes can be very telling when it's a 100-mile race. And Goikenberg getting into the mix. Look at this. 3, maybe 4 wide at this point. Great racing. Something's got to give here. But Goikenberg's got the best line for sure as they come into turn 4 again. And they all sort themselves out and get into line astern and back into the downhill right-hander and then up the hill. This is a great viewing spot. That's why so many fans get on top of the hill there and put out the deck chairs. Here at Mid-Ohio. Fantastic circuit to watch from, especially turns 4 and 5, then into the S's here at 6 and 7. Not a lot of places to overtake there. Possibly into the top at 9, but that's a risky move, and so is that by Goikenberg getting sideways there. And then down Thunder Valley, and then the long run down towards the carousel. Beautiful sound echoing through the woods here in Corn Country. Chase Briscoe in the all-orange in the back of this group, crossing the line now and diving into turn 1. One of the hardest corners here in Mid-Ohio. It's flat out through there in 4th, isn't it?
It's fast. And we've seen a number of guys go off because it's a tricky corner. You know, it's very fast, and you got to have trust in the cars.
Yeah, and there's no way back once you go wide at turn 1. You can't get back into the rhythm. You're going too fast. You get onto the grass there. We've seen some almighty crashes there in all forms of racing. So, yeah, it's a very famous corner here in American racing. Out comes the number 63. It's Bob Lima, who's finally got out on track, having been stuck in the gravel earlier. And Chase doing just that. Chase Briscoe all over the number 76 of Anthony Honeywell. Honeywell, a rookie to Trans Am this year. I already mentioned he's getting some help from Mark Miller. And now he's got one of the hot shoes of the future of NASCAR right behind him, and another off. And piling backwards into the gravel as this battle continues. That's a strange place for an off, that. Downhill coming into the carousel. That's number 43. That's Robert Sabato. He's already had one problem, but he's parked it. Does that bring out the caution? Have a look at this. What do you think, Jake?
It looked like he forgot to brake. I mean, he was sideways.
Yeah.
Well before.
He was out of control before he even got to the turn. So now he's going to throw rocks and dust all over the circuit. Thanks for that. And Honeywell doing everything he can to defend. But here comes Chase Briscoe, surely this time, and that's a bit battered, that 43. Let's see if he can get it back to the pits. In he comes. Good. He's out of the way and into the pits. In. Well, it wasn't too far to go for Sabato. And sure enough, Briscoe's got through on Honeywell. So Chase Briscoe of Kannapolis, North Carolina, takes the 00 to up another position. He's going to have a long afternoon. He's got another big race coming up in the Xfinity Series. So this good. A little bit of track time for him. But meanwhile, Rafa Matos still pulling away at the front and controlling this race for now. And the gap, 3.3 seconds between himself Bufamonte, though, not far off, and you can see we've got this battle for third place here that's hotting up nicely now, and they're all lining up behind Scott Lagacy, and I wonder how long it is before Bufamonte gets fed up of being chased himself and becomes the hunter.
Right about now.
Yeah. So, they've opened it up, they're having a look, but the driver, as you can see, is trying to get out, I think. Certainly not going anywhere. Yeah, Bufamonte's got enough on his hands with Christopher Bell all over the back of him. And I wonder if he might just try to push on a little and try to get ahead of Lagacy. He knows that that could be a thorn in his side, championship-wise. Spoke to Scott this morning and he said that he wants to do a few more rounds. And he could easily take points away from Bufamonte in their battle against Rafa Matos. First Energy, of course, electric distribution company that's been one of the largest investors of owned electric systems over the last few years, especially here in Ohio, and they've been a proud sponsor of Trans Am here for the last few years. Great to have them on board. And this is the first Energy TA2 100. Round 7 of the series. Chase for the Trigon Trophy, very much into its second half, and in comes Chase. I think he's had some fun and decides to knock it on the head. Got to rest up for his next race.
I'm not sure why he came in.
Or is that a drive-through? No, they're having a look at it. And they put the hood up. Well, they're trying to anyway. Yeah, maybe a problem.
Tell you what, Christopher Bell is inching closer and closer to Bufamonte.
Well, that's been the case for the last 20 minutes. And Bufamonte, it can't be, I mean, you tell me as a driver, it can't be a lot of fun with somebody literally breathing down your neck.
No, and the last thing Tony wants to do is start driving in his mirror, because then he'll make a mistake. He has just got to keep focusing on getting around Lagacy and getting those points, taking them back.
Well, Scott said to me earlier today that he felt that he and Matos had to get away from the pack, otherwise on the straights the Mustang would pass. And that was a bit of a bold move there by Bell, but he seems to have got good drive. And this is the battle for third. And Chris Bell all over Bufamonte. Now, Bufamonte, one of our most experienced Trans Am drivers. Chris Bell, one of the men coming up from the Xfinity Series and still a youngster. So this is a good battle, this, between youth and experience. It's politely put.
Very politely put.
And Rafa is both. You can see the gap, it's not much, and I tell you, with 45 laps in all, these three could easily, and especially Bell, if he can get past Bufamonte, you get the feeling that he can get past both of them. That's the problem. It's not a, you know, if Bufamonte is doing his job, he's not letting him by, and he is.
Yeah,
he's just driving wide enough, isn't he, in the middle of the road.
And Bell going through the S's there, trying different lines. I mean, he's driving. To me, he's driving much more aggressive than Bufamonte. Bell's on a one-off race. Tony is running for a championship, so I think Tony's just got to. If I were under his helmet, I'd be like, big, like we said, big picture.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, we saw Loshak get impatient in the previous race and then make a dive into the keyhole and basically lose it. And I think Chris Bell's got to just be patient. Having said that, Brandon Jones is not far behind him, as you can see. And Jones joins the battle now. There's less than a second between the three of them. And Scott Lagacy is going to have his work cut out in this last half of the race. Meanwhile, as these four battle, it's actually playing into the hands of Rafa because he's pulling away. Doug Peterson has lost out on this group, but he's still circulating in 6th place. And there's Rafa. It was great to see the emotion. I mean, all Brazilians are emotional. Win or lose, it doesn't matter. It's all gesticulation and emotion. And when he won at Road Atlanta, you could see the relief. He hadn't won last year, and he just wanted to get the monkey off his back, and since then, he's never looked back.
Yeah, that was a really important turning point for him, I think. you know, getting that first win, getting that big sigh of relief, and he can, well, he could sort of relax, you know, and say, okay, I got this.
Little bit of a wheel there by Chris Bell. Starting to get impatient now as they dive through turn one again. Bufamonte doing everything he can in third place to hang on. I'm just trying to see if they're actually catching the leader, all four of them. That might be a case too. Last time out, Bufamonte did a 127.010. That said, Rafa's just upped the pace to 126.9, so he's flying at the moment, and he's keeping that gap to where it should be and controlling this race, as I said earlier. Behind Doug Peterson is Jordan Buff in 7th place. Then Anthony Honeywell still in 8th. He's just crossed the line. Francis Jr. still 9th. Xfinity NASCAR here. They've got the Trans Am, all 4 categories, 46 cars in all. A real spectacle. And in 52 years, Trans Am has had a huge role to play here at Mid-Ohio. We've even had a run of the Formula 3 cars, the all-new F3 Americas cars. Seeing some of the youngsters coming through. Likes of Kyle Kirkwood, a name to remember for the future. 6 out of 6 so far. There he is, Bill Elliott. Trying to see where he is on track. Currently in 14th position now, Bill Elliott. His lap, 133.1. So he's quite some way off the overall pace. And now they're lining up behind Lagasse.
I was going to say, Bufamonte looks like he...
He's got the hurry up, look.
Yeah, he
look at him
turned
go.
it up a notch.
Here he comes. And coming towards turn 4, the most obvious place for an overtake. He drives around the outside. Bufamonte trying to make a move here. Oh, that was superb. And he's got the line. Brilliantly done by Tony Bufamonte. Well, that was Boof at his finest. Great stuff, and Lagasse taken by surprise a little bit. Now Chris Bell wants a bit of the action. He'll want to get past too. But Boof's done it. Nicely done by Tony Bufamonte. We don't see an outside move too often around there. I've seen the odd IndyCar go around there, but not a Trans Am.
That was pretty impressive. I think you're right. I think it might have caught Lagasse by surprise a little bit.
Well, he suddenly just seemed to get drive out of turn 2, and he left Bell standing, and then caught up there. Oh, look, there he goes. Oh, muscles his way through. Well, it's muscle cars, but you can't do it that way. Welcome to Trans Am, belly boy. And to be fair, Scott Lagasse is not going to be intimidated by these boys. He was racing against them last year. He usually races in the Truck Series, so he's not going to be intimidated by any of these guys. But this is a cracking battle. And now Bell wants by quickly. To be fair to Lagasse, he's not lost any time. Got boofed out of the way there by Chris Bell. Jones has caught up. So a cracking race now between these guys, and they're only 6 seconds off the leader. So let's just remember that. This race is far from done yet. 29 laps gone. And here comes Jones now. He wants a crack at it. Go on, son. Nope, can't do it. Great racing.
Just thinking over here, I hope that doesn't anything doesn't cause any bad blood for the next race, for the Xfinity race.
I know, no kidding. I'm going to look down the qualifying list to see how close they are on the grid. Whoa! Big puff of dust coming up there, and that might play into Jones's hands. The graphic tells us it's 0.091. That basically means he's up his exhaust. And he doesn't need mirrors to see where he is, that's for sure. But Lagasse doesn't seem to be holding him up, though, does he?
No, I think they're too busy with each other, and Lagasse's just inching away from him.
Blue flags waving here by the marshals. But I don't think Bell is interested in looking at those blue flags. He knows all too well where the 24 is. Down towards the keyhole again. Now, the next opportunity is to get good drive both in and out of here, and then wind yourself, and that's exactly what he's doing, wind yourself up for a pass at turn 4. We saw Bufamonte do it on the outside, but the more obvious one is on the inside. A mistake by Lagasse. That might play into the hands of the men chasing him. Here we go. through 3. Jones looking to the outside. He saw Bufamonte do it. He says, I'll have a crack myself. Here he goes.
Not quite.
Not quite. He thought about it. He's still thinking about it. He still can't do it, though. Again, Legacy's straight line speed, really impressive because he made a big mistake on the exit of turn 2 there. But luckily, it wasn't going to harm him too much. What a race this is turning out to be. 15 laps to go in our TA2 First Energy. Round 7 Trans Am 2018 TA2 race from Mid-Ohio. Jake Dallenbach, Jonathan Green bringing you the action from Mid-Ohio. Beautiful day here. We had a bit of rain overnight, but the conditions are absolutely perfect for racing. And that's why I think we're getting such a good show. Chase Briscoe in and out. Still the 43 of Robert Sabato stuck in the pits, as is Lima. He's back in. And Bufamonte, now he's got past Legacy, is starting to pull away just a little bit now. I'm going to keep an eye on the gap between him and Rafa Matos, because that is the battle for the championship at the moment. Matos leads the way. Bufamonte was 11 points behind. And in an ideal world, he'd hope that Rafa got into problems of some sort or got amongst the back markers and allowed him to catch up.
He's going to try it again. He got it, but he got it a little too easy, it looked like.
Yeah, it's interesting. It didn't look that hard, did it? In comes Bill Elliott. Well, everybody stand up and wave, because Bill Elliott is done with Trans Am for today. Let's hope we welcome him back for the next one. So Elliott with some sort of problem too. They're checking him out. Let's hope they get him back out.
Now I'm looking at some of these lap times. I don't see Bufamonte catching Rafa if this stays green. He'll need a caution and a really, really good restart.
And we're back with Rafa. There he is. It's been a lonely and relatively not easy. That's never easy, but at least a quiet race. Boof's got a bit of grass back in the grill there, but I don't think it's slowing him down any, or heating it up too much, I should hope. Francis Jr. still in the top 10, just ahead of Long. Sheehan, having spun out, is down in 11th place. Chase Briscoe back out on track. There's Swank. Now, he was telling me earlier he's racing for his autism charity as well. As he's at the back of this group and not expecting to pull up any trees this weekend. And Briscoe, who'd been in the pits a moment ago, is back out on track. That chain thing's a good idea. He's pushing on though now, Briscoe. Now he's got back out. And this is good just testing time. It doesn't matter where he finishes, does it?
Seat time is always good. Seat time, but it's also frustrating that as a driver, you're out there and you have to turn it into a test time, That can always be kind of disheartening.
And it's interesting, I always listen to drivers talk about seat time, and what you mean by that is more than testing time, because you can't get any better seat time than an actual race where you can get the times, the splits, everybody's got the attention, and you've also got the adrenaline of a race compared to what is literally testing, which is just like a day at the office, right?
Yeah, I mean, testing, that's one thing, but you're right. Seat time is the time in the seat, racing with these other guys, getting familiar with it. It's just, there's certain aspects, running side by side with the adrenaline, that's what it is. It just, to me, it seems a lot more beneficial to get thrown in a race than to do, 10 test days.
Good point, yep. Now, the gap between our leaders, that's Rafa Matos in first place and Tony Buffon-Monte, is over 5 seconds, almost 6 seconds. We got a quick glimpse of the gap as we saw Rafa come over the hill. But Buffon-Monte in the Ford Mustang from Mike Cope Racing. And by the way, hats off for Mike Cope Racing, Right Cope Racing. Cope putting out 4 cars this afternoon. And he's got a sign outside his pit lane that says, if you want to rent one of these, we are welcome. Here comes Lagacy. Oh, Scott, where are you going? Scott almost forgot to brake then, and he's now side by side with Buffon-Monte, but he left his braking to the very last moment there. He's making a go of it, that's for sure. They're coming up on back markers, and that's played into the hands of Scott Lagacy here in the closing stages of this one. Well, he's composed himself again, but that was a big move by Scott Lagacy, and these guys have got history. Let me just say that Buffon-Monte wasn't best pleased with his fight with Lagacy last time out, and that almost ended in tears there and then. And I think this is getting quite interesting between these two. No love lost, shall we say. And look at Lagacy bouncing over the curves and trying to push Buffon-Monte as hard as he dare. But he almost ran out of space then. He braked way too late, and he almost used Buffon-Monte as a brake. But they've settled down again, but I don't think we're done yet.
No.
10 to go.
Little bit of tension between those guys. I mean, after last week, so. And I think they both know it.
Oh yeah.
So they're probably being a little more nice than maybe they wouldn't be.
Well, but certainly Buffon-Monte's got to be careful because already one of the drivers in the previous series has had a penalty for you know, getting a little bit too aggressive, and it can happen. You know, the stewards are watching for that. You know, they ask them in driver's briefing, you know, hey, race hard, but we're watching, and we've got replay machines, we've got everything we need to look at the incident.
They see everything.
And they may add, one of Bill Elliott's old opponents is in race control adjudicating. One of the greats of Trans Am, Dorsey.
Man, Lagacy's trying hard here.
He is. Come on, Scott. The trouble is, he's pushing so hard, I don't think he's actually going any faster. It looks good. It's not necessarily quick, because Buffon-Monte is just going about his business. I think, in a straight line, Lagacy's got the power of it. But just not making it stick. Certainly trying.
You can see Buffon-Monte, how, you know, his experience. He's just hitting all his marks. He's making it hard for Lagacy to get around him.
Yeah, exactly. So, Rafa Matos has knocked it down a bit. He was in the low 26s earlier. He's now on 27.3. Meanwhile, the men behind him, the battle we're watching right now between Buffon-Monte and Lagacy, they are on the 127.3s. And pretty consistent there. Lagacy last time had a 127.4 to Buffon-Monte's 127.5. So just a little quicker, although rather leery, to be honest. Well, Lagacy not close enough for an attack here at 4. But let's see how he goes. And I think, if anywhere, Lagacy's good through the S's and up the hill towards Thunder Valley. You can see the gap between the leader. We just saw him flash through in the yellow and black. And now we go into that section I was talking about, and this is where Lagacy starts to get closer. In comes Swank for the Berryman-sponsored, autism-sponsored car.
Berryman guys having a little trouble this weekend. Both cars in the pits now.
Gar Robinson, of course, last year's champion, did race at Detroit, but a chance for a new champion. Buffon-Monte's been a champion, but a chance for a new winner. Through goes the 97, that's Tommy Sheehan. here comes Rafa Matos. Now, this is where Rafa's got to be careful. There are 9 laps to go in the race, and we saw this with Lawrence Loshak. He made the mistake. Having said that, the race was a lot less spread out than this one is. So Rafa's just got to be careful here, because this is where you can make a silly mistake when you're not concentrating and not judging, more importantly, the speed at which you're catching the guys behind you.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to get impatient and make a mistake. He's got a good gap. You know, if I were him, I'd be talking to my crew chief. How far back? How far back? You know, like I said, and get a good reading on that, and then set yourself up. Okay, you know, he knows how to time it to pass this guy.
No Paul Tracy chrome horn.
Probably not from Rafa.
We saw that in the last race too. Yeah, he's just got to be patient. That's the key here, because I'm sure also the adrenaline is running. You know that you're going slower than you were, and it kind of bugs you, I'm sure.
Yes, it will.
So into the first corner, down towards the keyhole they come. Rafa Matos with 8 to go. The gap is exactly 5.4 seconds, but this isn't helping Rafa. With every moment he's behind the 97, he's losing time. He'll want to get past on the straight here. Lines himself up, will tuck himself up right behind, will go to either the inside or the outside, doesn't make any difference. He chooses the inside and tries to make a textbook overtake here at Mid-Ohio, and he does pull it off nicely. Classic racing here at Mid-Ohio, and nicely done by the 88. So Rafa, biding his time now. And this is going to be an important win here. We've got Road America coming up. Similar sort of track in many ways. And VIR, COTA, Daytona, you know, there's not really a place where I'd expect Rafa not to shine. But then again, Monte's seen them all too.
Yeah, as long as they're finishing 1-2 like they are, it's gonna come down to Daytona.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Which is good for us, and it's a great place to be for a finale. If you want to come out and see us, GoTransAm.com. Check out all the latest news. Clark will be putting up the statistics. They're all there. You can see every race, qualifying session and practice, and of course the race schedule and all the latest news. From all the championships, north, west, you name it, it's all there. And Doug Peterson in the number 87. It's been a good day for the three-dimensional services team. Really, really good. And Doug can be well pleased with his new car and his new-found speed. He had a big off, I think, at Detroit. Did Doug? Good to see him back out there.
Yeah, that was
it was Detroit. It was a big crash, wasn't it? But he's going fine at the moment. Bufamonte's got some space to Scott Lagacy in 3rd place, but Lagacy kind of settling. He was all over him a few laps ago, but I think that battle, if you will, has settled down just a little bit.
For now.
For now. Well, with 5 to go, it's that last sprint, isn't it? It's like, how much tyre have I got? And you know, when you're driving a car like this, how aware are you of how much tyre is left? I mean, okay, it starts to move a little bit more.
You get very aware.
You get very aware very quickly.
Yeah.
Does it catch you out, or do you go, oh, right, can't do that again?
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both, yeah.
A little bit of both.
Sometimes it goes easy, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's a bit of a shock.
And during the course of a run, you can progressively feel it.
Yeah.
You know, tell you what,
He's building up for another run, isn't he?
Yeah, 5 laps to go. Man, I'm sweating. I'm starting to sweat bullets.
There you go.
If I were Rafa.
Ooh. And that was... Whoa! Careful! And that was Peterson getting a little bit wide. And almost catching out the number 25 there of Misha Gordenberg. But no harm, no foul. And through goes the 28. That's Chris Bell, who was involved in that battle with Jones. And down with Lagasse and with Bufamonte earlier on, but things calmed down a bit. He got past them. Brandon Jones, fourth in this race at the moment in the Ford Mustang for Mike Cope Racing. Swank just getting out of the way. Peterson goes through. And you can see the car starting to just get a little out of shape as the tyres do start to go away from them. But Matos has been immaculate again, and you have to say, for a fiery Brazilian, he's very consistent, very calm about his business of racing.
Which he needs to be.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, he's pretty darn focused in the pits on winning this championship. So I think he's got to. He seems to me a little more controlled this weekend than after Indy.
Well, you know, when you look at Rafa's career, there's unfinished business for him. He grew up in Brazil, and like so many boys from Brazil, you know, racing is it. And we've seen what the accolades in Indy for the likes of Fittipaldi in Formula One and in Indy. And of course, some great Brazilians all around the world in sports car racing and IndyCar and Formula One. And you do get the feeling with Rafa that the chance he got in Indy just wasn't fulfilled for whatever reason. And so he's come back to Trans Am to show everybody that he is capable of winning in America. And he said, we did a long interview with him earlier in the year. He said that growing up, he watched Trans Am on TV in Brazil and wanted one day to drive one of those cars. And so now in one, he wants to win the championship. He wants to go back to Brazil and put that trophy on his wall. Whoa! Sideways there. That's all fun and games for Christopher Bell. But now we can see those tyres definitely going off. And Peterson's still in this, you know. Peterson might make another move yet. Doug Peterson 6th, he qualified 7th. He would love to get a 5th out of this.
And Christopher Bell hasn't been exactly saving tires today.
Nah, yeah, there is that. Doug Peterson, though, he's on a run. Peterson's last lap.
Well, Peterson made that look really easy.
Didn't he? Wow. So he's through, and I think Bell's tyres have gone, to be honest. A very wide line by Goikerberg. So, Peterson.
I think Goikerberg might have something wrong with that car.
Well, we've already seen that he's already changed one wheel. Several cars now parked up on pit lane, including Bill Elliott. Swank's in there. Lima is parked up too. And this is turning out for a big day for the three-dimensional services boys. And Rafa leading the race, and Doug Peterson making a few headlines of his own. Doug Peterson from Bonita Springs, Florida, the Coleman Motorsports three-dimensional Chevrolet Camaro of Rafa Matos leading the way. And now the Mustang in the number 87, also doing the business. Now, could he get one more scalp? Let's go, Doug. Certainly time to do it with 3 laps to go. He's got his mojo going. Gets good drive out of the carousel. Short shift through 2nd gear, up to 3rd now. 4th gear now as he comes under the bridge. Meanwhile, his teammate is flying through the traffic. And Rafa Matos on for another brilliant victory here with 3 to go. He's been very patient through the traffic. There's Ernie Francis Jr. in the back of this pack. Sandwiched in there is Anthony Honeywell. In comes Chase Briscoe one more time. So he's basically doing a test session at this point for Newman Wax. And that might be the end of that.
Yeah,
day.
window net's coming down. I think he's done.
Fair enough. So, Rafa Matos, it's been all one-way traffic for the Brazilian. The gap, 6.5 seconds in this 100-mile race. And it's probably felt like about 5 miles for him because, really, the three-dimensional man has certainly been two-dimensional, if not three-dimensional, throughout most of this race. And he crosses the line again. 2 to go. But this is the worst time, isn't it? When you've had such a good race, this is where you start thinking about your speech. Where you're going to take the team out to dinner. How are you going to get to the airport?
Yeah, the last thing he needs to do is lose any focus there. That would be not good. You don't want to start thinking about where you're going to put the trophy until you actually got it in your hands.
Yeah. It's a wise word there from Jake Dallenbach alongside me. I hope you've enjoyed our coverage of the first Energy Mid-Ohio Round 7 TA2 Trans Am race. Rafa Matos of Brazil has been absolutely scintillating throughout the afternoon and through the weekend. He comes on the grass there, he doesn't need to, but it doesn't matter. And the crowd will appreciate this. They love a good drive when they see it. Still more shenanigans going on. What's happened here? Well, we've got the two Xfinity boys. They've got one of the locals, or one of the regulars. That's Thomas Sheehan in the way, and I would have thought Sheehan, fitness-wise, is probably struggling. And that broken hip, and he's strapped up, limping around. He's carrying a stick at the moment. So this is going to be a long 100 miles for him. There's the white flag then. Rafa Matos leads the way. The former Indy man at Mid-Ohio, leading the championship by 11 points, and he'll extend that lead over Bufamonte, who is still second place at the moment, but the gap is 6.9 seconds. Another incident here in the dying stages. Brian Long has gone long. And so long, Mr. Long. Shouldn't matter to Rafa as he piles on the last lap. Let's hope there's no more back markers in his way so he can ease his way in the 88 three-dimensional services car. Immaculately prepared. This has been a good weekend. Tense moments last night outside qualifying after the tech. All a little bit worried about whether they pass tech or not. They've had some problems over the years, and of course, over the season, and of course, they jumped the start last time out at Indy, and there was all sorts of shenanigans going on there. So this is a comeback weekend and a sort of let's get back to normality weekend for Rafa Matos. They didn't want anything to go wrong, and so far on track it hasn't. I hope I don't put the muckers on him on the final lap. But it's been a brilliant performance by Rafa Matos and his team. Likewise, Doug Peterson, who runs the team, is right up there as well. Superb stuff from Doug Peterson, who's going to finish 5th. So here he is. Let's hear it for Rafa Matos, who takes the checkered flag here at Mid-Ohio. Whoa, shenanigans going on in the final part. Scott Lagasse sideways across the line. Just about joins us in the commentary booth for a second there as he finally crosses the line. And it's Rafa Matos from Tony Bufamonte in second. It was Brandon Jones who finally took the final 3rd place off Scott Lagasse, and he won't be happy with that. Scott getting 4th, Doug Peterson 5th, and Chris Bell in the end finishing in 6th place ahead of Anthony Honeywell in 7th. Wow, look at that. Big damage to Brandon Jones's car. But it doesn't matter, he's got 3rd, he's on the podium.
I'm sure Lagasse is very... I'd like to see what happened there, yeah.
He came across the line.
There might have been just a tad bit of contact.
Maybe. Well, congratulations to Rafa Matos in TA2. He extends his lead over Bufamonte, but Bufamonte's 2nd place has kept the battle on for Road America. That's what's next here in TA2. Wherever you've joined us on our live stream, I hope you've enjoyed our coverage of the TA2 race. Congratulations to Brazilian Rafa Matos and the three-dimensional services team, and Doug Peterson for a brilliant run by both cars. My thanks to Jake Dallenbach for joining me here in the commentary booth. I'm Jonathan Green. We will be back at Road America to bring you more action. And don't forget, you could see all the highlights of this weekend's action on CBS Sports Network.